In today's video, we're going to be going back and having a look at the NECA Cult Classics Series 4, Child's Play 3, Chucky. Now, I've looked at this guy a couple of times on this channel, but I thought with the upcoming review that I'm going to be doing of the NECA Ultimate Chucky, that I'd go back and have a look at their first outing when it came to the Child's Play Chucky character. Before we have a look at everything that he includes and the figure itself, let's get some dimensions going, which is something I didn't do the first couple of times I looked at this guy. The figure stands at 5 inches in height. For being an older figure, he actually comes with a fair number of accessories. One of the cooler ones is he comes included with the Good Guys box. And there's the side of the box here showing you all the original print that would have been on these packages when the movie first came out. On the back you've got Good Guys. He wants for you for a best friend. Let him share your secrets. Hi, I'm a good guy. Let's play. Down below it comes to us from Play Partner Toys. Contains 1 Good Guy doll. There's some of the things he can do on the side. He can be a construction worker, a brave Indian, a fearless fireman, and the other side, a cowboy, a soldier, a doctor, and a baseball player. Batteries are also included. The figure can be stored, of course, inside the box, which I will show you near the end of the review. Comes also with a baseball bat. And I really have to say, I'm impressed that as far back as these figures were released, NECA did give a lot of care and detail to including very, movie-specific accessories. So it comes with the baseball bat, which has a somewhat faux wood sort of, print to it. It's not just simply a cast brown bat. Now you can hold this along with the other accessories that he comes included with. Those other accessories are a hammer, and they've even painted where the head of the hammer has been attached to the top of the wooden handle. A nice little small touch. And then lastly, Chucky comes with his little voodoo knife, complete with skull, crossbones, and I always wondered if that was flames at the bottom there, and some nice red printing done on the blade itself. And that can also hold in his hand. Now, the problem with getting any of the accessories in his hand is because his hand is pretty stubborn when it comes to being able to open. You have to, of course, really force the accessory into his hand depending on which one you want to use, which one you want to display him with. We'll go ahead and take this out as well. And those are your accessories, so let's have a look at Chucky. Now, bearing in mind this is one of the older Chucky figures released by NECA, so there are a few little shortcomings that this particular figure doesn't have, for example, that the upcoming or now released Ultimate Chucky is going to sport. And don't worry, in that video when we have a look at the Ultimate Chucky, I'll do comparisons between him and the original Cult Classics here. Now, it does advertise the figure as being from Child's Play 3, which of course is somewhat debatable because of the accessories that he comes included with, but nonetheless, here we have Chucky as he is portrayed from Child's Play 3. Comes with his overalls, complete with the little good guy symbols of all the different things that the good guy can do, down to his red and white striped shoes, complete with the good guys, molded tools on the underside there, which plays more of a role in the first Child's Play than it does really in the laters. As for his head sculpt, it's not terrible. I will say this, though. There is a very hard... I think of all the horror characters that have come out in movies, it seems the hardest character to make into a proper collectible is Chucky. You don't believe me? If you ever Google, just put in Chucky figure or Chucky doll and see how many disastrous Chucky attempts have been made over the course of time. The likes of McFarlane have attacked a Chucky release. Of course, Cult Classics from NECA and Mezco being one of the more primary guys that release Child's Play figures. In all honesty, I don't feel like any of them really capture the likeness of Chucky, or at least the likeness that I want from a Chucky figure. Up to the point that we're going to be looking at the Ultimate, which I really think the Chucky one face that's going to be on that particular figure, I think is one of the best, if not the best, Chucky likeness I've seen on a figure release. So I'm really looking forward to picking him up. And why have I not reviewed him yet, asks the viewers. So, well, actually, just because I had to wait for the comic book store to get him. Didn't want to buy him online and get him through eBay, because ultimately I would have to pay US dollars, converted to Canada, plus your shipping, plus your brokerage. It was probably going to be about $60 to $70. I kid you not, to get that figure. So unfortunately, a lot of times I just have to wait for them to hit the comic book stores, pick them up, and then try to do my best to try to get them reviewed right away. So I do apologize. I know a lot of people kept saying, can you review the Ultimate Chucky? Can you review the Ultimate Chucky? I know I've heard your cries for a review of him, and definitely his review will be coming very, very soon. In fact, at the time I'm shooting this video, I'm picking him up. Comic book store got him in yesterday, so I'm going to be picking him up probably tomorrow, and then the review will be shot right after that. So right around the corner from this guy, you'll be able to see a review of the Ultimate Chucky. So everybody goes, ha, hurrah, says the audience. So let's have a look at his face, because I know I've talked a lot about Ultimate Chucky. The face actually is not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. And I know I've gone on somewhat, if you can consider a record, at saying that this is one of my least favorite face sculpts for Chucky. I think it has warmed, I have been warmed up to the idea of it now. I think looking at enough of the releases, especially from Mezco, which I really think Mezco, honestly, I think is one of the worst companies in the way of Chucky releases. They've yet to really do a great looking Chucky, especially the large size figure dolls, which I've tried my best to try to review as many as I could find. I don't think any of them really look at all like Chucky, and the culprit generally is the hair. I just feel cheap out when it comes to hair. NECA, on the other hand, for as old as this figure is, like, he's got a full head of hair. We're not talking rooted hair, where a lot of times he just looks bald. I mean, you get full, complete coverage of hair. It's a little lighter on color, granted. I think it should be a little redder, but I think it still hits it more than it does miss it. The paint is generally a fairly pale application, where you've got just a share bit, just a shy bit of shading around the cheek area here. You've got the Chucky freckles, and you've got the open mouth, which when I first looked at this guy, I think I said he looked like he was going, I don't remember, but like I said, I have covered this guy a couple of times, but new backdrop and a better quality camera, I definitely wanted to go back and have a look at this guy again. So the face isn't terrible if you like a screaming Chucky face. If you want a more subtle face, of course, you can go the route of getting the good guy retro cloth Chucky, which I've also done a review of as well. And I think that is just one of the best Chuckies for if you just want a non-expressioned Chucky, maybe even pre-cursed Chucky good guy doll. That is one of the best, and fits perfectly also within the 12-inch horror figures, which I've actually done a couple videos of those as well. Shameless plug. Okay, so like face aside, the face again isn't terrible actually, and the more I kind of go back and look at this guy, every single time I look at him, I think I seem to like him just a little bit more than I did the time before. Paint is pretty clean on this guy. May have weighed in on the fact that his arms seem a little excessively long, but I mean, going back and looking at the original, the movies that obviously the character is based from, the arms are long. I still don't think they're this long, but I do feel like they are still long. These maybe are a little on borderline on monkey arms, but despite that, still, I think he's actually a good-looking representation of Chucky, if not for the fact he looks like a little square and a little just stilted. Like he looks more like an ironing board with arms than he does anything else. Coupled with the fact that he doesn't have any real posability in his waist, in his legs, and his feet. Really, all the articulation is in his head and his arms, which we will look at right now. So posability on this guy, his head rotates all the way around, and you got the hinge up and down via a ball joint. Universal joints on the arms, so they hinge outward. But I will express my utmost concern to anybody that has this figure or is planning to pick up this figure. This is during like the territory in which NECA was using clear pegs. So ultimately, if you have this figure, or maybe you have picked up like the Seed of Chucky set, for example, or like the Michael Myers sets, like those clear pegs are very, very known for breaking. clear plastic. Bad idea for pegs, but that's what they were using back in the day. So luckily, knock on wood, or knock on backdrop here, knock on wood, the pegs have not broken yet on this particular Chucky. So he does have joints on the arms. I mean, now that I've said that, his arms do move forward and back, but they are a little on the stiff side, so I'm not going to go overly crazy with this. He does have the hinge on the elbow, and then he has a rotation in the hand. That's all he has. A little as a side note, by the way, I like the fact that they painted in the fingernails of Chucky in a very nice white. And they knew enough to know not to go excessively crazy with wrinkles on hands, which, if you've ever picked up like the movie Maniac figures, really were prone to having excessively wrinkled hands, making them almost look like they were old person's hands. But I mean, Chucky's hands here are as youthful and as doll-like as one would expect to find with Chucky here. So overall, a great looking figure, still after all these years of owning him. And for final looks, because I didn't actually put him inside the box, I thought I'd have some fun with him and just kind of wedge his head outside the box as if he's breaking out from his package prison. Overall, still a great looking figure after all these years and after all these reviews of looking at this guy. I think he still is a pretty good figure. And if newer, or I would say current video guy here, could talk to my former self when I first had a look at this guy, I think I would probably say don't be so harsh on this particular figure, because of the figures that will come after this guy. You really then can go back and appreciate what NECA did initially when releasing this particular figure. Figure companies nowadays, even like, again, the likes of Mezco, who have held the, of course, the Child's Play property for many, many years and covering different larger and smaller releases, I think they still struggle to release a really accurate looking Chucky. This one is not bad. This obviously is a precursor to what we will eventually get with the Ultimate Chucky, which I will be reviewing in an upcoming review. So of course there's a couple of options from NECA's standpoint of what you can pick up if you want to be collecting Chucky figures. You of course have the Cult Classics one that we just looked at. You have the retro cloth version that came exclusively with the Child's Play Blu-ray with the NECA and Shout Factory collaboration. And you also have the retail release the NECA Retro Cloth Chucky, all of which I've already done reviews of if you want to go and check those out. All of which will be leading up to the, I know, the big Ultimate Chucky review, which will be right around the corner, so I know you guys have waited patiently for it. His review will be coming up very, very soon. And I definitely want to just kind of cover off and look at one of the older looking Chuckies leading up to the release of the newest Chucky. If you guys haven't had a chance yet to hit that little subscribe button down below, don't put off for tomorrow what you can accomplish today, my friends. Hit that little subscribe button. You'll never miss a beat when it comes to future videos. Of course, and of future videos, Ultimate Chucky will be coming very, very soon. Sooner than you may think, unless you think that he's going to be coming up an hour after this one gets uploaded. Probably may have to wait a little longer than that. Certainly as well, if you guys also like Chucky figures, I've got a whole playlist designated just for the evil good guy. So if you guys want to check that out, by all means. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you next time.